This is the Astros Postcast, your instant game reaction for the Houston Astros, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
The Astros were in a very weird spot this afternoon at Dyken Park as they entered play today, needing their starter to go out and be dominant for a very lengthy period of time in the baseball game. And guess what happened? Ronel Blanco went out there and had the second best start of his big league career as he goes 8 strong for the Astros, career high 11 strikeouts, powers the club to a needed win, to a needed day of rest out of the bullpen, and big hits provided throughout the day. Mainly, I shouldn't say mainly, all of the runs provided from Yainer Diaz and Christian Walker in the 6-0 victory over the Cincinnati Reds as the Astros secure the series win, and on top of that, shut out the Reds in 2 of the 3 games. We'll forget yesterday's 13-run output by the Reds in that one. That's all that matters, that the Astros got the victory today, and what do you know? They get a series victory before they have to welcome the Kansas City Royals to town. This is the Locked On Astros Postcast here this afternoon. Thank you for stopping by and watching live or later on and recorded. We always appreciate you joining us. Today's episode is brought to you by Monarch Money. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. All right, lots to get to from this one. The number one thing, though, that you are walking away from this one talking about is, well, I feel like it's pretty obvious.
This is what you'll be talking about.
That the beast Rennell Blanco from last season showed up. Rennell Blanco is slowly rounding into form. If you kept up at all, now look, I, like a lot of you, didn't watch every single available spring training game on TV because it's spring training baseball. After like the first 2 weeks, the novelty of it wears off, and you just don't want to keep up with it as much. You keep an eye on what's happening, make sure there's no injuries and whatnot, but I'm not like sitting here grinding on every spring training game. I can't do it, and I don't want to do it. But if you paid attention, you saw that Rennell Blanco had a rough spring. It looked bad. The numbers were bad. Nothing looked right. And this is a guy that last year was probably snubbed for an American League All-Star spot and really was captain consistent of everybody in that rotation last year. He never really got down. He was just kind of the same all year long. He was really, really good. And it was a little bit of a rough start to this season. There is no denying that. But he is slowly starting to round into form. And this is a massive development for the Astros. We're talking, and you know what, it's unfair to say that he's been horrible this season by any means, because you just go pull up the raw numbers, the ERA. I'm sorry, I don't know what's going on with my camera today. The raw numbers in the season now, he is 2-3. ERA is just above 4 at 4.04 through 8 starts. 43 strikeouts and 42 1/3 innings. WHIP at 1.16. The thing that you just go back and it's not like he was giving up a ton of runs and starts. I just run through them real quick. 5, 3 runs. 1 2/3, 4 runs. That was not good. But 5, 2 runs. 5, 3 runs. 6 2/3, 1 run. 5, 3 runs. 6, 3 runs. 8, no runs today. So, I make it out at times like he's not been great, but he just hasn't been sharp, I think has been the best way to put it. Nothing has been sharp, and he's not been, a guy that's out there for lengthy periods of time in the baseball game. Today, they needed this in the worst way. That's what's so huge about what Ronel Blanco did today. Now, obviously, we did not do a show for last night's game. Was out dinner with family and stuff last night, and I honestly thought about coming home and doing one after we got done because it was available to me and within my eyesight. And I looked over. I had not seen a thing last night. And my nephew looks at me and goes, "Oh my God, Michael, look at the score." And I look over and I go, "Oh my God, 10-0 in the first inning. What has happened?" And then I was like, okay, we're not going to bother coming home and, worrying about that. We're going to enjoy our night out with our family, and then we'll get back to it on Sunday. Worked out, right? Here we are. But they needed Ronel Blanco to do that in the worst way today because you ate up a ton of bullpen yesterday. The Astros are now in a stretch. We've talked about this, where they are playing a ton of games in a ton of days. They don't have a day off again until, I have my schedule up and I closed the tab. Excuse me 1 second as I click that. And the always useless MLB.com, Astros.com takes 50 minutes to load a page. They're not going to have another day off until the 26th of May. They just kicked off this stretch of 3, 6, 10, 13, 17 consecutive days with games. And guess what? Unless there's a rainout in Tampa in one of those, there won't be a rainout where they would have a day off possibly in any of these because they're playing home with a roof. In Arlington, roof. At Tampa, like I mentioned, that's outdoors, which used to be indoors. And then they're playing in Seattle with a roof. And Seattle never is going to, even if it was, they'll probably be fine either way. They're playing. They're in all likelihood playing every day. And it's probably still early enough in Florida in the year where, thunderstorms aren't too bad yet in the afternoons and whatnot. So they needed to keep as many guys as fresh as possible. And Ronel Blanco stepped up and pitched like the guy that he was last year. And I think it's so interesting when you look at how the season has gone for him. And this is the unpredictable side of baseball that I love, and I think a lot of you love. Every year is different. It's never going to be the same. Like, you could put up the same numbers, but you might do one thing better than you did the year before. One thing might work for you more than this did the year before. And I think you're seeing that with Rennell Blanco. Last year, remember the big evolution for Blanco. Credit to Dana Brown here. I am the number one going to put my hand up. I'm not the biggest Dana Brown fan in the world. I think he's been more of a talk and not do GM so far. And it annoys me personally as a fan. I'm just not a big fan of it. One thing he has done right is that he came in and his evaluation for Rennell Blanco was that this guy needs to start. And they stretched him out to be a starter. And they made sure that he was going to start. And, he came out last year and he got a ton of outs and pitched so well. And it was mainly because of that changeup. And this year, and it's not like the changeup isn't good. He's still utilizing it. But this year so far, the slider has been awesome. It's got so much bite on it. And look, he was a slider guy, primarily fastball slider guy before last season, where he decided to go with the changeup. And again, I'm sorry for this camera. It keeps falling backwards. But to see how different seasons work out, and it could change again. Throughout the year this year, he could have a period of time where the slider goes away and it's not as good, and he has to go back to the changeup more often. Whatever it is, as long as this guy is showing up for the Astros, it's hard to do after yesterday. And I'm not, you're not going to crush Lance. You can't crush Lance McCullers for yesterday. It's his second start back. The emotions of being back at Minute Maid Park for the first time since early 2022 as well, or I should say late 2022. I don't even really want to talk about the death threat thing because idiots on the internet, and just it's sad that people are as stupid as they are. It's gross. It's bad for the fan base. It's a bad look. That there's these stories that are having to be written out there about, a guy getting death threats to his family because he pitched poorly. Stupid. Just absolutely stupid. But outside of that, the Astros have really pitched their back ends off. We talked about those numbers Friday night. They're basically top 5 in almost every single category out there, and they perform that way. And today's another piece of evidence on that front. If this team does what it does on the mound consistently, they're going to have a chance every night, every single night almost, to win a baseball game. And when you get Ronel Blanco, part of that group with Hunter Brown, and you're hoping that Fromber's building off the last start. We've seen Gusto step up this season. They're going to go into that 6-man rotation. They get these guys to do their thing every night and hand it off to the bullpen that so far has been excellent. If the offense comes around and does its thing, which 2 straight days now, they hit. They went out there and they absolutely hit. That was the one thing last night that even though they lost, at least they went out there and they hit. And they did claw back into it. You hope that the offensive numbers will rise. They are not one of the better offensive teams still in baseball. They're very far away from that. But good signs for a few guys. And we'll talk about those couple of guys here in just a second on the Locked On Astros Postcast. Have you ever taken a look at that bank account and said, hey, you know what? Where's all my money? Yeah, we could all do that after this weekend. Well, between dining out, online shopping, and entertainment, it's easy to lose track. That's where Monarch Money comes in, your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center. You can track all of your accounts, investments, and spending in one place so you stop just managing your money and you start building wealth. Instead of juggling those multiple apps like I mentioned, you can use Monarch to check your finances, track that spending, and even plan some long-term goals. We all need them. Easy to collaborate on this app as well. Managing your money with your partner is smoother than ever. You can track the shared and personal accounts, set goals, and stay on the same page without the stress. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com and for 50% off, your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONMLB for half off your first year. I want to tell you guys one more good thing before we get back to the good thing, which was the Astros win today. I just had some of these actually because I was hungry. It's the middle of the afternoon. You're looking for that snack, that is both delicious and nutritious. Well, crack into a good source of protein like I do with the Wonderful Pistachios. Wonderful Pistachios is one of the highest protein nuts. Each 1 ounce serving has 6 grams of protein, giving you over 10% of your daily value. Plus, they're packed with fiber and better for you unsaturated fats to help you keep feeling fuller longer. Trust me, it's a good thing. I like to feel fuller longer. It works for me. Personally, I love the no shells variety. It's the perfect grab-and-go snack for busy days, whether I'm snacking at my desk, on a road trip, or just need a quick protein boost. They're always my go-to. And if you love cracking open every shell for that satisfying crunch, the in-shell option are a classic favorite. Get snacking and get cracking with a snack that packs the protein punch. Visit wonderfulpistachios.com to learn more. Astros winners on a Sunday. Happy Mother's Day, by the way, to the moms out there. I don't know if there's any moms watching watching live here on the show that have commented or whatever, but happy Mother's Day to all you moms. I'm happy that the Astros gave you a win today, and hopefully they'll give you, a few more wins this week. That'd be good. Back to 500 again. They're back above 500 again, right? Yeah, they're 20-19. I didn't refresh the standings page like I should after the game because, again, far enough after the game, MLB.com, useless website. Astros 20-19 at the moment, 2.5 games out in the American League West, half game back of the Athletics and the Mariners, who are leading the division as we're doing this show live. Sorry for those of you that are watching later on. The A's are getting smacked around by the Yankees, which is good for the Astros, and the Mariners are tied with the Blue Jays in the bottom of the third. So go Blue Jays. But it's still way early to be doing a lot of scoreboard watching. The Astros are right in the thick of it, even though they're not playing the most incredibly consistent baseball this season. And this camera keeps going. I don't know what's happening here today. The Astros today had a bunch of guys step up, but who? Well, I'll tell you what. We're going to have a trio of it. Guys that are going to take home this.
This is the Locked On Player of the Game.
I have to give it to the 3 guys that mattered the most. It can't just be one guy today. Now, yes, Rennell Blanco probably stands out more than anybody else for 8 shutout innings with just 2 hits allowed in the baseball game. He was tremendous. Career high, 11 strikeouts and just 1 walk. But you also have to give it to Yainer Diaz, who bops a big 3-run home run. Guy likes to homer on Mother's Day. First career home run in 2023 was on Mother's Day. 2025 hits another home run on Mother's Day. And then Christian Walker. Overall, a great day for Christian Walker today. Did get nicked by a pitch, but reached base every time he went to the plate. 2 for 2. Also drew a walk. Reached base every time. He had the sac fly. Every appearance at the plate was some sort of production. How about that? 2 for 2 with the sac fly. Drove in 3. Had the big bases loaded hit. The Astros' 5th. Think about that. May the 11th. Their 5th hit with the bases loaded this year. But he drove in a couple of runs there. Those two guys provide all 6 runs. The Astros need those 2 bats to step up in a big way, and those 2 guys did it today, and they're swinging the bat well at home as well, or both of them. That's a big sign for this team. Maybe finally getting something big out of these guys. Again, they get the Mother's Day victory today. They start the series tomorrow against the Kansas City Royals. We, of course, will be live after the game tomorrow night. Ryan Gusto will get the start for the Astros. Michael Wacha will go for the Kansas City Royals. This team comes in playing good baseball. The Astros have already seen them, did not play necessarily well against them the first time that they've seen them, obviously. They need to get a little bit of revenge here, and this is an important series before heading back out on the road for an important road trip where the Astros will head up to Arlington and then over to Tampa for a 7-game trip overall. Hope you guys have a great rest of your Sunday. To all the moms out there, hope it goes better than what my camera's doing. Happy Mother's Day again. We will talk to you guys after tomorrow night's game against the Kansas City